it just became normal to feel wrong, and so I just kind of rolled with how gross I always felt and kind of pretended like I was dressing up all the time.
You could cut out all the bits of you that you didn't like and just draw the bits that you did like and kind of celebrate them a little bit more. But as a general thing, I think it is definitely quite difficult to like what you see.
When I was a lot younger, I struggled a lot with mental health issues, and to help myself along, I lived in kind of a fantasy world, if you were. And it was kind of my safe space. And I'd always imagine the day planned out, have a kid, getting them to school and everything. And I was always the female. And I was always in a relationship with a male. And that safe space just stopped being safe. At some point, something just felt very, very wrong. And it was once when I was in a very bad place and I was imagining my day as I always used to, and I was imagining myself getting up for work and stuff, but I was the man, and suddenly it was safe again.
I only knew who I was about 4 months before I started coming out and transitioning. I had a label for it. I knew I was wrong and different from the age of 10 or 11, when my chest started growing and started menstruating, and I went to an all-girls school, and everyone else was like, this is I'm becoming a woman, and I was like, no, I don't want to become a woman. That is not something that I'm comfortable with. And there was a lot of crying and sleepless nights and not knowing who I was or why I was feeling different.
I thought at first that I just didn't want to grow up. That's kind of where I started out. I just thought, I don't want to go through puberty, therefore I must just not want to grow up. So I pretended that I was very young and just carried on like that until I realised that I was a guy, and the reasons why I didn't want to go through puberty was because I was going to go through the wrong puberty.
It's making me realise just how short my hair is and how short it appears. So I identify as a trans girl, but now that my gender dysphoria has really become apparent, it's like I look in the mirror and I think I don't really look feminine, and it's disheartening at times. Well, I'm going to exaggerate the little bits at the back, I think, a little.
My hair, I got cut after my dad's wedding, his third wedding, because he asked me not to cut it before his wedding, just in case it looked awful in all of his photos of his precious daughter. So the day after his wedding, I shaved it, and I sat in his kitchen with his hairdresser wife, and he just went, okay, this is a change. And I went, yeah, well, get used to it because it's going to be short from now on. And he just went, great, well, I didn't realise I had a son, and I wasn't out at that point to him, and so I just kind of was like, yeah, well, you do, you might want to get used to that. And that was how I came out to him, and he was like, what?
I guess I identify somewhere between non-binary and trans-masculine. There's it's all such a grey area for me. All I know is that I'm not a girl. It just happens to line up a lot with masculine traits and things, and for society's benefit I tend to identify as male.
It's incredibly frustrating when non-binary people just don't get recognised, and when people are they understand the trans thing but not the non-binary thing. It's hilarious. I mean, try and explain to someone what it means to be not male or female, and then you turn around and you're like, well, what does it mean to be female? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, there you go.
They don't have an answer for that.
No, but they want you to have an answer.
Exactly. They expect you to have it, but you ask them.
Well, obviously being trans, it makes me a genius, so I must know everything. That's what you're forgetting here. Trans people are geniuses and we know everything. I am non-binary, and I do use he, him pronouns, but a lot of the time that's because it's way easier than trying to get someone to work through the they, them as a singular and as a neglected group. It makes it upsetting to be ignored.
As soon as you're talking to someone who's straight and they've not really known many people who are LGBT or anything else, and as soon as you say that to them, it's almost like someone needing to nail down what you are. They want to fix a nice, easy to read label on you so that they can go, okay, that's you, and so that it's something they can understand.
Basically, I describe it to people who don't understand gender very well. I say, like, let's be stereotypical, men are blue, women are pink, everything in between is purple of some varying shade, and my gender's yellow. And it's not on that shade, it's not in that spectrum, it's something completely different.
One hard, I'm not going to call it a bad reaction, it's a challenging reaction, I'd say, that I've had from my mum particularly, just in the fact that she kind of, she sees the son that she's lost. A parent who's lived in a society where male and female, when they're born, you hold them up, there you are, boy or girl, the rest of your life. If you've grown up never being told that there's any difference at all, then surely you're going to get attached to the idea of how your child is going to behave and how they're going to grow up as soon as they're born. So I can't fault her for that, but it's definitely, I would say, the most difficult reaction I've had.
Every year we go swimming at Trans Camp. It's a really important time for everybody because a lot of people don't go swimming if they're trans because of body dysphoria and being perceived in certain ways by society. And so we hire out a swimming pool just for us, and it's really beautiful to see everybody just being themselves and just doing what they're comfortable with, wearing what they're comfortable with, and just not being afraid to be perceived in certain ways because they know that everybody will accept who they are.
This guy started talking to me and he was using he, him pronouns without even questioning it. And then we were talking and he was like, yeah, so you must be genderqueer, right? And I was like, what? And he went, yeah, no, my child is genderqueer, and like you're obviously, you know, somewhere in the genderqueer spectrum. And I nearly cried and hugged the man. I would have been fired, but I nearly did because it was the greatest moment. And I know he only knew because of his own child, but it was honestly the best feeling that someone could see that I wasn't a girl or a boy.